also persuaded them to support my candidature. He himself invited the president from East Africa here in Nairobi to basically adopt me as a candidate for the Eastern region. And this they did. So Kenyan ambassadors in all those foreign countries were also informed and that they would support my candidature. And whenever I went to, they received me at the airport, took me to the hotels, and also took me to meet with the president. I was able to meet more than 40 presidents on the continent. And I traveled Africa from east to west, south to north, like never before. As you know that I have been the high representative of the AU on issues of infrastructure. So I'm not actually strange to these issues, I mean to the continent. But it gave me a better opportunity to now understand problems facing many African countries firsthand from the leadership of the continent. As you know that our continent has suffered seriously from innovations from outside. First was the slave trade that took so many of able manpower across the shores to go and work in the building of Americas, both North America and South America. Some were taken to Arabia, some were incarcerated there and died there. So that was the first. Then came colonialism, where they went and set somewhere in Berlin and partitioned Africa according to their interests. British, French, Italian, Portuguese, and so on and so forth. So Africa has suffered seriously. That was colonialism. Then when Africans fought for independence, they granted it, but it was a flag. But then there was also neo-colonialism that came about, and Africa has continued to be marginalized. So I saw this and came up with a program of how we were going to deal with these issues. We campaigned strongly, and we went to Addis Ababa quite confident of victory. Before I went there, the women here, Orange women in Nairobi, organized a prayer meeting for me in Bomas of Kenya. And they prayed for my success. And I told them that they were only going to do two outcomes in Addis. One, we would win, in which case we would have succeeded. The other one, we would lose, but we would also have succeeded. Because I told them why, we will come back home. So east and or west, home is? So we are here. So when I came back, I went to meet with the president in Mombasa to thank him for the support that the government had given me during that campaign. And he was, of course, very gracious. And at that time, I found when the two teams from the parties had worked out on some documents that they wanted to be signed, I told him I cannot sign the document until I've consulted our people, my people. So I took time. From that time, I went to Kisumu. I met with Professor. I met with leadership and elders in Kisumu. I went to Siaya. I went to Migori. I went to Homa Bay. I went to Busia, where I met with all the leadership from all the 5 counties in Western. Then I went to the coast. I was in Mombasa. I was in Malindi, in Kilifi. I was in Kwale. I came back. I went to Wajir. I came back. Yesterday I was in Kisii. I was in Narok. I was in Nairobi, here in this same building here with leadership of Nairobi. That is what you call random sampling. think I managed to get the feeling of my people, my supporters. And that's the reason why I am today able and confident to sign this document. So I want to say this of note. Today, you have signed a memorandum of understanding between Orange Democratic Movement and the United Democratic Alliance. The cardinal goal of the MOU is to help ease the prevailing tensions in the country, reconcile the population, alleviate their suffering, and move the country forward by addressing the critical social, political, and economic issues our people are grappling with today. As leaders of the largest political parties in the country, we arrived at the understanding that in a time of significant changes and challenges to our nation, it is not enough to merely grandstand or stand aside and criticize, easy as those may be. They say any madman can kick down a barn, but it takes a good carpenter to build one. We have agreed to help build a barn for our country.